Hi everybody, John Manuel and Aaron Fitt here in cloudy Omaha, Nebraska. Aaron, pretty unique night, the College World Series last night, because I've been coming here for a long time. You've been coming here a long time now. I don't think either one of us has ever seen a tornado just about roll into the ballpark. I don't know that because we were on the hill at Rosenblatt Stadium with a different location changed anything, but it was a little scary last night at TD Ameritrade Park, and obviously we were suspended an early morning start today, 10 o'clock local start for Vanderbilt in Florida. What'd you think of last night's happenings?
It was wild, I guess it wasn't really an imminent danger of a tornado.
Right.
What I heard is that it was the high winds that tripped the tornado sirens.
Correct. Yeah, winds up to 70 miles an hour, apparently.
Right. So that's scary in its own right.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a funnel cloud to be scary. And the sky was eerie. I mean, it
really was.
It was like, you look at some of the photos, it was like a retractable dome going across the stadium as that bank of black clouds moved across.
Yeah.
It was really it was really bizarre.
It was
and then you get
surreal.
then you get the debris swirling around like something out of, American Beauty times 1,000.
That's right.
I mean, it was
wow.
It was really something.
I'm excited about the American Beauty reference. Good for you. And the upshot of all this is Vanderbilt, Florida, suspended in the 6th inning. So Grayson Garvin's done. Grayson Garvin was throwing quite well through 6 innings. But he made one mistake, Aaron. And the battle of bullpens, we kind of knew it would be. We've talked all year about how good these two bullpens are. I think you might even feel better about Vanderbilt if Navery Moore were at his best. But when Tim Corbin's saying we don't have a closer right now, that tells you he's not at his best.
Right.
It does give Corey Williams an extra couple of hours of rest. But Florida's winning by 2 runs. They have 9 outs to get, and they have a great bullpen. It has to be advantage Florida, right?
It does, and it's a pretty much a reverse of the situation from March 13th
Yes.
when Vanderbilt had a 2-run lead, also in the 6th inning.
Interesting.
And, when play resumed, Florida regained the momentum and actually rallied from behind and won that game by a run. So,
and if Florida wins this game, they're off till Friday, Aaron. I mean, just an immense advantage for a team that hasn't even used Brian Johnson yet, who was their number 2 starter for much of the season. Hasn't pitched here yet. They've got bullpen depth. They have a depth they could come back out of the loser's bracket. I mean, they can line up their pitching exactly the way they want it for Friday if they win this game.
right.
It's a pretty good advantage for Florida. The difference in the game really was Preston Tucker versus Aaron Westlake. Preston Tucker, 3-run homer. Aaron Westlake, 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts, and left, I believe, 4 runners on base so far, but we'll see what happens in the rest of the game. The 2 scheduled games for the day at their regularly scheduled times, weather permitting. Cal versus Texas A&M in an elimination game. South Carolina against Virginia in the winner's bracket game, so-called the winner's game. Aaron, who's going home today? Texas A&M with Michael Wacha on the mound, or Cal with, I forget who's on the mound because Justin Jones is hurt?
Yeah, they haven't, as of the other day, they hadn't announced yet if they're
2
going
choices.
with Kyle Porter, the freshman left-hander, or Dixon Anderson, the junior right-hander, who's got a big power arm but is a little more erratic.
Inconsistent.
When he's good, when he's on, he's really good. I mean, he's got 3 or 4 pretty good pitches. He'll work a split finger in there, power fastball. Although his velocity hasn't been what it was a year ago, he's more of a low 90s guy, kind of maybe an 88 to 92 guy,
Right.
more than what he was last year. Would be up to 93, 94 pretty regularly. So he's maybe not quite what you remember if you saw him as a sophomore, but still good, certainly talented. My gut says they go with Kyle Porter. I think he's pitched better lately. I don't know if it matters. You're up against Michael Wacha, a guy that I think we both think is a first-round pick next year, a guy that really commands the fastball. He's a power guy. He's got one of the better changeups in college baseball. I think that his breaking ball is serviceable against right-handed hitters. I mean, and this guy competes.
He's good.
And I spoke with a coach who played against him, down the stretch, and a coach is familiar with Cal, and he said, well, they're going to have their hands full with this guy. I mean, he's really tough.
Look what he did in the Super Regional. I mean, A&M wins that first game at Florida State, beats Gilmartin. They got to think it was all downhill from there. Then they get crushed in the second game, and the whole season's on Michael Wacha, on the road in a hostile environment, a Super Regional, and he dealt. I mean, he pitched really well.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was staked to an early lead because Florida State had no pitching left. But yeah, Michael Wacha's pitched under a lot of pressure. He's pitched with the whole season on his back before. I'm fairly confident in his ability. The one thing I'm worried about with A&M, I do think that if I were Cal, I'd go with a left-hander. Michael Roth gave you a nice template. Tyler Naquin's left-handed. Got to keep that guy off the bases. When he got on base, A&M started everything up. Aggressiveness. Got right into their personality. When Michael Roth handled Tyler Naquin, it really neutered A&M's offense. I don't think Kyle Porter is Michael Roth. Who is? Who among us is Michael Roth? I don't even believe that Michael Roth is Michael Roth. I mean, he's kind of outside himself, to use an Augie Garrido phrase. But yeah, I would go to the left-hander if I were Cal. I do like the fact that Cal got a little momentum. How they played poorly last game and still finished the game well. They still got Danny Holtzen out early, and they didn't get crushed by Virginia, even though clearly Virginia was the better team. So I like Cal's momentum, but I like Michael Waka better. So I think we're both picking the Aggies today.
Yes.
And we still don't even know who's winning our picks. We're 5-5 with a 5-0 with a tie, but advantage obviously Fitzy, who picked Florida. Second game I was talking about Michael Roth because I wanted to segue into the Gamecocks. Gamecocks and Cavaliers in the second game, Aaron. I thought it was very telling yesterday when his team went 2 in barbecue. Augie Garrido talking a little bit about the whole series, saying North Carolina is certainly capable of coming back, and we wrote a lot about Ken Emanuel yesterday, and Ken Emanuel, he's good. That's why we both picked North Carolina to beat Texas. But when Augie Garrido's post-game comments, he didn't even really mention Virginia. He talked about the 3 SEC teams and this team that just beat us. It seemed like he couldn't remember that they played Carolina. Those are the teams that he thought were the best teams in the tournament. I thought that was pretty telling, Aaron. I wonder if Brian O'Connor shows that to his team, because last I checked, Virginia was the #1 seed in the tournament and pretty good. But it just seems like South Carolina won 12 straight postseason games. I mean, why would we pick against the Gamecocks?
Because Virginia's very good, and Virginia has, I think, a pitching matchup advantage here. With Will Roberts against Colby Holmes. And Colby Holmes is good, and I do think that Colby Holmes is a fly ball pitcher, and those guys have been succeeding in this ballpark.
No doubt.
And, I think we talked about this park has the exact same dimensions as Rosenblatt, but the wind blows in instead of out, and it makes all the difference. I mean, we've seen 2 home runs here through almost 6 games. And the balls are hit hard and they just don't go.
Yeah, Jason Esposito crushed one yesterday. I thought that could have gotten out and didn't. There have been a lot of balls in this College World Series that have been hit on the screws and have not gotten out. No, that's a good point. It does favor Colby Holmes. If the game gets into the bullpen, Virginia has a good bullpen. South Carolina has South Carolina's bullpen.
Right.
So it seems like it's just crucial for Virginia to jump up early. What has to happen for the Cavaliers to avoid kind of the sputtering offense they had the other day? We've talked about their offense. It's relentless. They grind out every at-bat. Who has to be those key guys, though, for the Cavaliers to get on top of Colby Holmes and the Gamecocks early?
I think John Barr needs to get going in the #2 hole. He's been really a spark plug for them all year long. He's been a prototypical #2 guy, moving runners around, moving the ball around, just doing everything you need him to do. He's kind of scuffled a little bit in the postseason. I think Virginia needs to stick with its up the middle, on the ground approach that worked so well in that 9th inning against UC Irvine.
Great point.
And they had 3 base hits all up the middle to rally from the brink of elimination. If they do that, it doesn't matter that Colby Holmes is a fly ball pitcher. And I think that Virginia's offense is good enough to do that. And I've really developed a lot of faith in Will Roberts. I think that guy is just a darn good pitcher. I'm taking the Cavaliers.
I'm very tempted to take the Cavaliers, but I'm just not going to pick against the Gamecocks. Not right now, not this time of year. If I were Virginia, I would try to exploit South Carolina in the running game. I think they could be aggressive on the bases. I don't have faith in South Carolina's ability necessarily to control the running game. But you got to get on base first for that to happen. And for some reason, it seems like South Carolina doesn't let that happen. And, Ross Stripling was obviously pretty good the other day, but as soon as South Carolina got in that hole, it bounced right back. There's definitely something going on with that Gamecock team beyond just battle. It's
special.
Fun. It's fun to talk about the battle and stuff, but it is special. So I'm going to listen to Augie Garrido. So we're disagreeing about one pick. So we're picking A&M in the first game. You're picking the Cavaliers in the second game. I'm picking the Gamecocks. Maybe I shouldn't listen to Augie. His team is already going home. But we wish Texas well. Congratulations on a great year. And we'll see also who wins that Vanderbilt-Florida game. But we thank you for your patience. We'll be here all week, or Aaron will be here all week. This is my last video from Omaha. I'm going to shed a tear if I talk too much about leaving Omaha, Aaron, but we'll see you later this week from BaseballAmerica.com.